Hey everybody, Darren Slaughter, DarrenSlaughter.com. This little tip is going to be a little controversial because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of boys and girls out there who disagree with what I'm about to say. I think that there are a certain number of estimates or sits or whatever you call them that you're going to go out on where you're going to have to make Mrs. Jones uncomfortable. What I mean by that is I make you guys uncomfortable all the time. I have to kind of club you guys over the head a little bit sometimes with kind of just giving you a different perspective, a different way to look at things. Because, listen, let's face it, the things I do, websites, social media, content creation, things like that, those are a lot of things where they fall far down on the to-do list for the most part and through most of your season. At some point in the year when you're sitting there and you're staring at 3 feet of snow outside your window, you come around to me and say, oh crap, I gotta figure out something here or there and what have you, and that's when my phone starts going crazy. But what I do typically doesn't show up on your radar for most of the year. So I have to shock you sometimes to get you to think about that stuff. And I think, the last example that I gave of that is, one of the things that you have to compete, what you have to understand is what you're competing against out there. So let's say, for example, you're a major remodeler and you do additions. Well, you're not just out there competing against ABC remodeling and XYZ additions and renovations. You're out there competing against ABC remodeling, XYZ renovations, and you're also out there competing against Barbara Smith, realtor, and you're also out there competing against other. You're out there competing against new home builders and custom homes. So you're not just somebody that's in that space that's thinking about additions or has other options. It's not a fair competition because they're not just looking at your competition specifically in your vertical. They're looking at other alternatives as a whole. Somebody that needs a new bedroom and a kitchen and they're going to have a 2-story addition done to do it may just as well be willing to move. And 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that might not have been an option because they might be underwater on their home. But now they're back to break even, and maybe they're ahead a couple bucks, and it's easier to slap a for sale sign in the yard than it used to be. So that's what you're competing against. So that's where you have to kind of massage your presentation, massage the content on your website, and maybe even massage some of the information that you put out there from a social media standpoint. Comparing. It's contrast and compare. Show them what you sell, why it's a better option than doing what they might also be doing or thinking about doing. So don't just think or pigeonhole yourself into thinking that Mrs. Jones has one road to go down and it's between you and company A and company B and company C and it all comes down to price. No. She's weighing all of her options and all of her abilities that she can go and all the different roads that she could go down and which one makes the most sense for her. So if you can make the most sense for her, then guess who's going to get the job? Or guess who's going to kind of persuade her to go down a specific path? It could be you, but you have to get her out of her comfort zone to do that. You have to show her, listen, Mrs. Jones, have you thought about what it's going to cost you to move? Have you thought about the hours it's going to take you to pack everything up? Have you thought about, relocating little Jimmy out of his t-ball league? Have you thought about all the things that come with moving? Don't move. Stay here. We'll build you that kitchen and that third or fourth or fifth or 10th bedroom, whatever the hell it is that you need. Just stay here. We'll take care of it. So think about that the next time you go out in your presentation. Make sure you're digging deep enough with questions, but also make sure that you agitate the problem and then provide the solution, but then also make her feel a little bit uncomfortable. And that's it.